And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 148 of Fans of Power. I am Joe Amato, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Tyler T-Rex Baker. And how's it going, T-Rex? I know I wasn't here last week, but I was busy with family stuff. But you guys did great. First, I wanted to say that you and Nathan, and I thought you both did fantastic. Nathan, I know he said he was worried, but I thought he delivered a great episode with you last week.
Oh,
I
thanks,
thought he
Joe.
did. Yeah. I thought he did too. Nathan, you're supposed to get the hell out of here. This is my time here. Being in front of my time here. No, I hope Nathan is aware that because of that, he's always welcome to jump in and not go watch it with his girlfriend instead of chiming in when he wants to on the podcast. So
Yeah, well, definitely, I want him to jump in tonight at one point. There's one point where I am going to want him to jump in.
Yeah, there's something I want him to give his 2 cents on because he gave me his opinion on this particular subject. And I'm like, this is great.
Yeah, so and I'm sure, and we obviously did not have this plan, and I'm sure it might be the same thing I'm thinking, possibly, but we'll see. But
are you out of your mind? You know damn well we're all thinking the same thing here.
Yeah, we pretty much probably are. But first, let me say hello. And before we even started, Delvis78 and Fedmon, they were having a blast, having a chat. I think a half hour before we even started. So we're glad to see you guys here early and enjoying some discussion. So they joined us, and let me just scroll down because they had quite a conversation. Grimbot is here as well.
By the way, Grimbot, I love your enthusiasm for Predator 2, bud.
All right. Zen Brown, JSP, Zentron, Kevin Sharp.
And hey, Kevin, all right, bud.
Yep, Adam Gabbert. And that might be okay. And I think that's everybody as well. And oh yeah, thanks for the welcome back, everyone. I appreciate it. And first, let me say, and you'll see him carded eventually. I want Adam to have him carded the first, but there's this is Trevor Goodchild, and this is from, I think it's Aeon Flux. And when Adam asked me to make this custom vintage figure, I'll admit I was like, Trevor who? And then he was like, Aeon Flux. And like I said, there's still just these last little details into the face because this is a character, he's got some big lips. He's got big pink lips. So see, cartoon characters and males, they can have lips as well. So he's one of them. But no, I just wanted to show that to you because I was like, everybody's going to hate me. I was like, I don't ever remember watching Aeon Flux. And everybody's like, oh, dear God, Joe, how did you never watch this? I was like, I just didn't. I feel like an idiot.
I didn't watch it. I knew it was on, but I just chose not to watch it. Of those MTV cartoons that were on the time, Beavis and Butthead was the only priority for me and my brother. That was the only thing we would turn into MTV was to watch Beavis and Butthead at that time. So.
Oh, okay. But here's the thing with me. I've never watched Beavis and Butthead. So
okay, all right, people, we have a common enemy here. Joe chose not to watch any MTV animation back in the 90s. So get him.
Yeah, damn Joe, I just never did. And T-Dog and He-Man World, thank you for joining us as well.
All right, awesome.
All right, one last quick thing too. Also, somebody, and it's early in stages, wanted a battle armor Fisto, and I still got to finish up some paint details. They wanted the armor chromed up. They wanted him to have two big fists, and I made the fist posable, and he's going to have his battle damage. He's all chromed up, but yeah, that's another figure. So there, cheap horn from Joe Amato. How about that?
Quite a good cheap horn out there for Joe Amato. That looks good.
There you go. But all right, well, we have some, and Grimbot brought up, he says, Joe's never even watched Ulysses 31. I was like, I've never watched it either. It's like, God, there's so many things I guess I have never caught. So I have a lot of things to watch, and that's why I have everybody here in the chat room. I have Tyler, I have Nathan. These are all people who will guide me to watch things that I probably should see, and I'll take their word for it.
But you won't do it anyway. I will. To Joe's credit, though, he did watch all 3 Jaws sequels, so he is capable of branching out and watching some of the finer things in life there.
Yeah, I will. And I've never watched South Park. I've watched an episode, I think, of Seinfeld, and I was like, okay, that's about enough of that for me. But I know there's people that love it. It's just some things I don't know. Didn't float my boat, I guess.
But you still firmly support Family Guy, right?
But I love my damn Family Guy. Can't help it. All that cheap, sick humor. I love it. I love it. So, all right.
Well, South Park has got all the great sick humor, but it's not just a one-trick pony. I kind of feel like Family Guy's humor, it's cute once, but then it doesn't have that replay value. South Park it never gets tiresome. I can go back and listen to the same joke. I can quote it to myself while I'm at work or in my car. I'll just,
that's
a good one.
Yeah, not me. Can't do it at all. But well, before we get into not before, we'll get into one of the main topics because I was not here when the She-Ra Netflix trailer dropped, and so everybody wanted to have opinions. That's where Nathan's going to jump in as well because this is going to be opinions from two passionate fans and from Nathan, who I mean he likes He-Man and She-Ra. I don't know how insanely passionate
That's
he
his
gets.
way of saying it. I love from passionate fans and from people like Nathan.
That's pretty good. It's been
Like Nathan's walking around like a scarlet letter on his chest, just
a pile of shit.
Yeah.
It's like, and Nathan too. It's like the poor guy in the background that nobody would want to pay attention to. And I don't mean that, Nathan. I'm just giving you some crap, but I am looking forward to Nathan's opinion.
Man, all right. So hang on. So I
didn't mean that. I didn't mean it. I swear I was not insulting you. I swear to God.
Sure. All right. So I'm sitting here and we start the show, and I'm just like, all right, well, I'm gonna get up and do my thing, and then right before I'm getting ready to take my headset off, you guys start talking like I'm gonna jump in, and I'm like, what? I was not privy to this.
Come on now, pass live.
So we are going to have you, and you'll have to probably even switch the camera for when you come on to do your.
I mean, is this happening now or?
It's happening now. I'm going to quickly first babble the thing of just impressions. Now, am I going to give my impression of obviously the cartoon? No, because I am honestly waiting for when the entire cartoon comes on to watch, and then give all impressions on that. But when it comes to the trailer, just the first impressions were okay. I don't know what's going on. Meaning. Okay, first let's talk about just the delivery For the Honor of Grayskull. And as silly as that might sound to some people, there was a way where it was confidence, power, regal. It was the way that Melendi Britt did it in the original, She-Ra cartoon. The way she said, for the honor of Grayskull, but it was confident and powerful. And then she transformed. This from the get-go is just screaming at you with For the Honor of Grayskull. It's like, dear God, I don't know if that's how it's going to be delivered every time, but it was just grating on my ears. But I don't know if this transformation is how it's actually going to be in the cartoon, meaning when she says it, you see the transformation happening from her feet all the way to the top, and no longer is the jewel in the center of She-Ra's tiara. It's just in the center of her forehead or hair, and then it goes ping like energy. And then suddenly the the sword of protection flies from out of nowhere in the air into her hand. I was like, where's pulling it out to do it? So I don't know what's going on, but in the defense of this trailer, I don't know if it's just in a sporadic order. But from what I've seen, it just looked confusing. So, I mean, maybe that's not how it's going to be in the show, itself. But for me, just from the get-go, I was just like, I don't know what to think of it because it looks just like it looked like it was sporadic and just, I don't know, mixed up. So I don't know. Now, Tyler, you do yours, and then I want to hear it from Nathan. But I mean, your thoughts.
Lazy, uninspiring, and did nothing to silence the negativity going against it. And I was one of the first things I saw, like after it had been released, there was some bullshit article saying new She-Ra teaser release and shuts up all the haters. And it was some like social media hostess babbling on. I didn't listen to the video because I just thought that's not what I've been saying. And I looked down at all the comments below this article. They were all negative. Every single one of them. If they weren't, trashing the show, they're like, it ain't for me. And that's all they would say. It was just almost as if like they were trying to fuel like fake reactions because it's not getting, other than the sporadic, come on, guys, give it a chance, guys. Come on, it's going to be great. It's not meant for us. You guys need to grow up. Shove it up your ass. I other than that, it's getting trashed. It's not being. I just kind of felt like the show is due out on Netflix in 2 months?
November 16th. Yeah, November 16th.
Yeah, less than 2 months now. And this is all they're giving us. And they're aware, the powers behind this cartoon are aware of all the negative response it's picked up just based on what little they've thrown out. I almost feel like, the people behind it may not be as confident about it. I'd like to think that if you feel like, look, we understand that this is not getting a lot of good publicity right now. We should put out a confident, epic trailer with some good music, some good scenes, edit together properly, and make this fan show. Look, we're aware you don't like where we're going with this so far based on the limited images that have been, shown to the fans. Here's something that will, much like the '89 trailer, everyone was up in arms against what they'd heard and seen so far. Let this, kind of twist your mindset a bit and let you know that, look, we understand your concern. It's in good hands, and let me show you why. But this trailer doesn't do anything like that. It's a short, uninspiring trailer. The voice actors playing Adora / She-Ra is so high pitched that, it just sounds like, like uncomfortable. And the minute I start hearing like this kind of ominous voice talking, like, is that supposed to be Light Hope talking? Because I felt like they're not going to have any connection to the He-Man show whatsoever. So we know it can't be the Sorceress. But I just thought they made Light Hope a woman. And I didn't know officially until Joe told me this afternoon they've made Light Hope a woman, which I kind of feel like they're really all out about kicking the I almost feel like I'm surprised they didn't make Hordak a woman too. It just kind of feels like they're just making a lot of unnecessary and undesirable changes just for the sake of, well, that was yours. Now we're going to come in and do our own thing. And if you don't like it, well, we're just going to come up with a bunch of excuses to kind of make you guys disappear and act like your opinions don't matter. It just did nothing to help the cause. Like to me, have you guys seen anything like en masse, not just a sporadic person here or there that wants to come out and plant their flag of you can't knock this because it's for us, that kind of nonsense? Are you guys seeing any kind of positive feedback based on this trailer?
When I went to YouTube, of course I'm going to go to YouTube and check and see how many reaction videos, and there's a lot of negative ones. And there are some people with, saying positive, like, hey, think it looks good. It'd be cool for my kids. I've seen that too. What I don't like is, here's the thing, is when you try to make it seem like there's only a particular group that's hating on this. And Teen Vogue, the one who showed the article and the trailer for the first time, they did an interview with Noelle Stevenson and all this. And then there was a part that came up about the people that are hating this are males from, the 80s that grew up with it. She doesn't look sexy enough. And again, I don't like picking and choosing.
I'm going to put myself on camera just so people can actually see me roll my eyes as you're saying all this stuff.
Yeah, do it. Roll your eyes, because I have seen just as many women hate it as men. And sure, there's men and women that like it, but they're targeting it, making it look like guys are the only ones that hate it. It's because She-Ra doesn't look sexy enough. And it's like, no, that's not the consensus. The ones that they don't go to, because they don't know the actual He-Man, She-Ra groups, when you go to them, the consensus from the men and the females are saying just the design is something they didn't flip over. They're not saying, damn, I wish they would show more tits. Sure, has there been a guy and some women that have said that about, oh, she could look sexier with some bigger boobs? I've seen that. But the more consensus is that they just said they're not really into this new kind of style. But there are those that said they like it too. But when they just single out men and say it's men, you have teen girls, it's Teen Vogue, and it's mainly focused for young girls. They're reading this article, and now they're thinking, oh, all these men are sexist. That's not a good kind of image, and it's not a good point to get across to people. So I hate that they do that. They also, within that same article, said, and this is from Noelle Stevenson, is that the original She-Ra is like a flat, one-dimensional character, but apparently hers is not going to be. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait. Now you got me mad, because I'm still going to hold reserved judgment until the cartoon comes out. But by you
no. Don't you dare feel like you got to hold back to this.
Well, what I mean is
she's so much more wiser and
that's what I mean.
Minded
for her to say
storytelling and animation.
Yeah, because there's no way. If she says She-Ra is one-dimensional and Adora, it's like, you really did not watch that vintage cartoon. You also didn't read some of the stories in the comics. If you have that comic and that's your impression of She-Ra, you don't know her. But she's also said in statements and articles that she researched She-Ra. There's a difference between researching something and absorbing
and doing a shitty, lame-ass, lazy Google search.
And living it.
Oh.
You know what I mean? How we live and feel this cartoon and get passionate about it. And it's good. People get passionate about things in a positive way and negative. But like I said, I'm going to wait. Now I'm going to wait and see this cartoon, because by her saying that, it's like, you better deliver something super epic. By putting She-Ra down like that from the 80s, then yours, boy, it's like you're saying something. It's like, okay, I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna relish this. It better be something.
When has that ever worked? Because I want to get to Nathan's thoughts. When has it ever worked for anybody that's coming along and doing a reboot or reimagining or reinterpretation, software, whatever, and they come along and they want to slam what came before that has a fan following and treat what came in the past as like, doesn't really hold up. It's not really that great. Or they just find some way of kicking it in the balls while they're coming out and saying shit. Has it ever panned out for the people that have got what I did for that movie or that series that you guys like back in them 30 years ago?
Well, all right. So here's the thing. I feel most of what's her name again? That is the head of this.
Well, Stevenson.
All right. So I feel like I feel like most of these things that she's saying is kind of in the same way of what we went through with Ghostbusters. It's to drum up excitement for it, but almost in the wrong ways. Trying to put, I guess, sort of an agenda to it. That way, if it doesn't perform the way that you expected, now you have a crutch and an excuse. And well, this is why. And it's not the case. If I watched that Ghostbusters movie and it was actually good, then it's good. It's not, I didn't like it because it's an all women cast. It wasn't funny and it was uninspired. And this trailer that was released is something that should have been released 6 months ago, a year ago, when it was announced not too long after, because there's not much to this. We're 2 months out. There needs to be something more to, as you guys have said, shut up the critics and be like, here you go. This might actually be pretty good. And they haven't done that yet. So like Joe, it is a good idea to reserve final judgment until you have watched it and then form your total complete opinion. But from what I've seen so far, it's not looking good at all.
All right, well, see, I like that. I mean, I like hearing what you had to say. Just like I said, it's an absolute different opinion. And also, Kindle Winks blog, thank you for joining us. But see, here's the thing. For me, I just told you, I have a preference of styles that I like seeing in cartoons. Now, that style that I see from this, it reminds me of anime. I'm not saying it is complete anime because I want people freaking out saying, Joe, it's not, though. But that's what it reminds me of. So I've never been a super fan of that. But sure, some things it works for it. Now, here's the thing. They say that we don't like complete change. Well, I'm going to give you my honest opinion of when I first seen the MYP preview, which is completely different looking than Filmation. I loved it right from the start when I seen the preview. And when I heard the voices and everything, it's like, wow, I'm going to be into this. I was hyped because I still like the style. And even some people with that said it felt slight anime. But for me, I didn't feel like it was that. But also, when I look at cartoon characters of like, at least let's say He-Man, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, things like that, I like the characters to look somewhat still resemble a human being, but in cartoon form, meaning like their eyes and their nose and mouth are pretty proportionate to what a human being's face is. And as with this, you see it has the gigantic, over-exaggerated eyes. It's going to have the weird big mouth and no, definition and defining to the nose and lip area. It has that different look. That just isn't my preference. So that's why I don't flip over the style already. But when I seen MYP, for people saying you don't like change, I had zero issues with how MYP looked. I loved it. I was flipping over waiting for it. And when it came out, I still loved it. So, yes, and, some things of Filmation I like better, but I don't completely piss all over MYP and say it sucked, it shouldn't have been made, it looked like garbage, and I'm just a fan living in the 80s. I absolutely loved MYP. So that proves some things can work. If it just looks good and the formula comes out great, but we're going to have to see how these episodes pan out when it comes out November 16th. Let's see if it pans out. Now, I don't know if you thought when you seen MYP from the start, if you thought it looked like crap, you might have. I don't know.
No. Hell, the first teaser trailer that came out, that was more just footage with small snippets of dialogue. It had like a epic music, trailer music attached to it. I remember vividly the images that were shown in it. I think it was released at San Diego, I think. And I remember I even played the audio over the phone for my brother. I said, "Oh my God, Derek!" It's like, I know you don't like He-Man, but listen, you got to listen to this trailer. And he's like, "I haven't seen it, but it sounds pretty cool." And he fell in love with it the minute I showed him that first teaser trailer. And then the small Cartoon Network trailers came out, and they had it's still available on YouTube now, like with this cool movie score trailer music behind it. Hell yeah, I loved all the redesigns of all the men, all the women. Just the changes they made. I was cool with it. It was the voice acting and some of the stories I had problems with. It was not the visual style, and I was super excited for it. And it showed you that Cartoon Network and Mattel were firmly behind this, and we want to put it out there and make sure the fans are aware of it. These geniuses are more about just slamming men, and and if you got a penis, then oh well, you're the problem. Oh,
Well,
you're stuck
I
in
mean
the 80s
that's the main mistake, is that she's been so outspoken of trying to just hammer home this point of, well, this is kind of the agenda, and this is what we're setting, and you're shooting yourself in the foot when you do that. Because if people don't like it, it's all right if they don't like it, but I feel like it's going to tread that territory of, well, you don't like it because you're a man. I'm like, well, I'm sure there's going to be females that are going to watch this. It's like, it's not that good. Then again, animation style aside, if the stories are strong, I think strong stories trump animation most of the time, at least to me. If it looks like garbage, I'm trying to watch my language here. If it looks like garbage, but the stories are pretty good, I sort of look at it like video games. It doesn't have to be the prettiest thing. If the story's drawing me in, then I'm hooked with that. I'm all right with it. But I don't see it in this. I don't.
Yeah, and I also noticed too, and I like Nathan's point of associating this as much like the whole Ghostbusters reboot thing, where no one was going to admit that this was a bad idea, and they're all going to blame a bunch of '80s fanboys for getting all the backlash. And you know what? No one turned out to watch the movie. It was a flop. Obviously it didn't take to women, and it shows it didn't take with fans of the franchise anyway. So I kind of feel like, yeah, they're heading down that path too. But oh, damn it, I lost my train of thought.
You were like me on retro.
What the hell was I?
Well, it was something along those lines too of Oh yeah, I know where it was. That there hasn't been, and granted, I'm just deciding to kind of keep myself removed from it, because honestly, when this drops on Netflix, I'm not watching it unless Joe and Nathan and Axel and Penny and Grimbot and a bunch of others and James come out and say, "Look, Tyler, you really ought to give the show a shot." If that happens, I'll watch it. But you know what? I made it a point, like, I'm not going to go and watch movies that clearly don't look like I'm going to have a good time with. And that goes for this as well. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like how they really seem to be emphasizing the show's about friendship and all that other nonsense. Like,
save that for the ponies, man.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm going to again, that's not mine. That is my girlfriend's. I want to throw that out there.
We don't want people suggesting that we should do My Little Pony episodes in capes and comics, because we sure as hell ain't doing that. But anyway,
maybe as a joke. We'll wait until April next year to do it. Yeah.
No, you'll be by yourself. But there just seems to be no mention of this planet that's under tyranny of a dictator that's ruling the planet, and the stir for rebellion. It's just kind of emphasizing, the light and fluffy aspects of what the toy line in the 80s is pushing, kind of the bright colors and the pretty hair and the girly girl stuff, and not necessarily a young woman coming into her own and realizing how she's been raised is completely wrong, and she's been duped her whole life, and decides to rebel against the man that raised her, who realized she's a dictator, and takes up the responsibility of becoming the biggest female ass kicker between two planets. No, we ain't doing that. We want to make sure this is about, friendship and bonding and, dealing with girl problems and, taking away the guts and the guts and glory of what we know. We're not here so we can, give me the nearest bottle of lotion so I can watch She-Ra because she got big boobies.
And I've never thought of that.
Here.
Ever.
No.
I mean, when we were kids, when we were watching like He-Man and She-Ra, it was just always about the battles of good versus evil. I never looked at Teela, the sorceress, She-Ra in any sexual manner or thinking, God,
well, no, I thought they were hot and I wanted a kiss from She-Ra, but that was
anything, because they make us
of it.
Because sometimes they try to make us out to be perverts. Like that's all we were ever looking at in those cartoons, and that wasn't it.
Oh,
and
it's so much more easier for a woman in her position to slam fans who've kept this property alive, and because we don't like their ugly take on it, that we're just a bunch of it's like talking to like we're AC Slater and she's Jesse Spano, just less interesting. We're a bunch of sexist pigs and stuff like that. We're living in bubbles.
I want to say hello to Motu fan number 1. Thank you for joining us as well. But no, when it comes to, again, like the cartoon and just my preference, I mean, there's some cartoons to where I like the younger, like kitty kind of aspect or something funny, but then there's the ones where there's the adventurous and battles and, like we said, sword and sorcery and technology with He-Man and She-Ra. I always felt like those are the ones that have to have more like adult characters. Like when I was a kid, I never watched He-Man and She-Ra and thought, God, where are all the kids at? I never expected that. I had Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, why isn't Swiftman dancing around and singing?
Right, I had Scooby-Doo. I had like that Beverly Hills cartoon. There was a lot of kiddie cartoons I watched for that. But when I wanted my seriousness, I'd go on and put He-Man and She-Ra, Thundercats. Those are the cartoons I'd watch for those. So it's just, I don't like seeing my heroes in a kiddie look. Like, picture if Masters of the Universe, when it came back in 2000, when it came back from MYP, what if it looked kiddie? I wouldn't have liked that either, because I was like, I don't want to see them looking kiddie-like. I want to see them looking like adults. And yes, Adam, yes, I know he's the one that looks younger, but if still he becomes He-Man. But still, you feel like it's in a more adult cast. But I know they're probably going for some new demographic of young kids, and so a young look. But we'll see. I mean, maybe it'll be a success with them. But I just have a feeling I don't think it's something I'm going to flip over. But I'll hold all my judgment, my final judgment, for when it comes out, because I will watch every episode when it comes out.
How many episodes are going to be in this?
I don't even know. Okay. That's what's weird. I don't know how many, and I don't know. Hopefully, Grimbot in the chat room know. I don't know how many episodes, and I also don't know the length of every episode, because I've noticed some of these cartoons that come out nowadays, they're like these quick 5 or 10 minute. And I'm like, damn, I couldn't imagine that when I was a kid. I like my good, half hour. Of course, it's like a 22-minute episode, but with commercials, you get a half hour of viewing. It's like, what are these, 5-10 minutes? I don't even know.
I feel like if we're following the formula of Netflix, it's going to be anywhere from 10 to 12 episodes, and each one will run roughly 25 to 32 minutes.
Oh, is that how long those cartoons usually are?
I'm just kind of judging it off of just other Netflix exclusive things that I've watched. They usually don't order like a lot of stuff when they produce a season for things. It's usually 10. That's been like the solid number for a lot of stuff that I've watched. I'm kind of hoping, for some people's sake, if it's not that good, and if you're planning on watching all of it, I hope it's not as many episodes. But man, and when Tyler was going on the whole time about like boobies and stuff, and how that's how she thinks that you guys were looking at She-Ra and everything, I was just thinking about Lincoln and Encino Man, where he's doing the cave paintings with the ketchup and mustard.
Yeah, gazongas and Yeah, I mean, I'm sure
that's us.
What
we're cavemen. Yeah,
Noel. Yeah, that I'm taking ketchup and mustard, and when I'm at work tomorrow, I'm gonna walk around the dining halls and just draw big breasts with ketchup and mustard, and then I do cave paintings and one of me with a big wiener, with the mustard, woman right there, and gazonga's body cones, and just finding some way to say, I think you, Betty Nugs, I think you liked your cones, just. I mean, come on, it's just, you get all this nonsense of saying how they're stereotyping all of us, and their argument is, we want things a certain way, or
Tyler, you are a perverted man that lives in your mother's basement, and you can't get out of the 80s, and it's not for you.
Yeah. In fact, I had no business even leaving the house. I really should just kind of give up on life, give up on anything that I hold true and that I'm passionate about. I should let myself go, let my life go.
But like I told you earlier, MYP really is the perfect example for anyone that says we can't stop living in the 80s. I loved MYP. In fact, I even posted it on my wall, and some people might have disagreed, some might have liked it. I showed my favorite transformation sequence of all time from an MYP episode when Orko gave Adam that sword when he was down under Castle Grayskull. Yeah. And when he said, by the power of Grayskull, and when he transformed, it was like his muscles swelled. It was like a different cool transformation. Skeletor's looking, seeing the lightning coming. I was thinking, oh God, is Skeletor going to find out his secret? That one, I was like, that's my favorite one of all time. So it's like, I love MYP with a lot of things. So I'm not somebody living in the 80s. I just love a good looking and a good cartoon with a good story. And some episodes, like you said, at NYP, some stunk, but so did some of Filmations as well. Not all of them had winners.
That's it. If it's good, it's good. If it's not good, then it's just not good. And people can't seem to leave it at that. If you don't like something, sometimes people are just like, "Oh, well, you don't like it because this." It's like, "Well, no, here's this, and no." But you're a man, and this is clearly. She said that it's dumb. It's really dumb.
She's no more better than anybody else. I mean, because that's the case. If you're getting a lot of negative feedback, what they're accusing us of, they're going to go and do exactly what they're accusing us of doing, and then sit there and say that, well, they've done nothing wrong, or that, and clearly she's not doing anything wrong. We just don't like her portrayal of this, the way it's looking, and how she is addressing the backlash that it's getting.
I mean, the other thing I'll get across as I'm sitting there stumbling over my words is it's good that women are coming up in the Hollywood system. They can be directors, and guys are looking at them like, oh yeah, blah, 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 whatever. But for them to kind of pull this narrative of, well, we haven't had any strong female characters until now. That's bullshit. Tyler and I talk about this all the time. Ripley, Princess Leia, She-Ra, all the
Sarah Connor.
Yes.
All the women on G.I. Joe, for God's sake.
Yes.
Whether you're work for Cobra or you work for G.I. Joe, all the women are portrayed strongly. You
want to talk about Tomb Raider for the Yeah, really. You got Tomb Raider. You got the Underworld series. I mean, there's plenty of strong.
No. You don't have the Underworld series.
No, you
don't
do.
lump that piece of shit movie.
No. I'm still going to bring that up because that's been a series again. You have the Resident Evil series again, starring females. So to say there hasn't been a lot of strong female characters, that's a vast understatement. It's not even true. And like you said, within even cartoons. So I mean, God, we're talking about She-Ra. That is a cartoon. It transcended all types of people that wanted to watch anything, meaning it wasn't geared just towards young girls, adult women, young boys, adult boys, teens. Everybody tuned into it because you were just seeing somebody kicking ass every single day, and weekly or however they started, syndicate and whenever you'd watch it. But you never tuned into She-Ra and thought, oh God, this is a girl. I don't want to watch it. Hell, if we were so sexist, I mean, you think even then, would we still be talking about She-Ra? We love the cartoon. We love the character. She's a very
plus, not to mention too, when you're a young 4-year-old boy and a girl cartoon comes on, you instinctively don't want to watch, Rainbow Bright or Strawberry Shortcake or whatever the case may be. Now,
I'm going to say this. When I was 4 or 5 and Jim came on, I watched Jim. I was like, yeah, this is cool.
I mean, well,
I probably just lost all my credibility, probably. But
I did. I watched.
I watched Jim.
Yeah. I'm just saying the vast majority of us boys, though. I mean, granted, because there were cartoons that were just geared for girls, and some that were geared for boys, and you could cross over. But the vast majority of young boys were not going to sit down and watch, a back-to-back Rainbow Bright and Strawberry Shortcake, much like how girls weren't going to probably sit down and watch back-to-back, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, followed by episodes of Silverhawks. Even though each show has got a very strong female in each show, it's a boys' show. It's targeted to boys with a boys' toy line. It's just instinct. It's not sexist. It's not weird. It's just you're born that way. Now, granted, some girls are, they're inclined to think a certain way, and some boys are at a young age as well. I'm saying the vast majority. Okay, I'm not saying everybody. People want to question, say we're being.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of room for like a gray area, but I get what you're saying. It's like black and white. Here you go. Here, it's the same thing with the Happy Meal toys. It's like Hot Wheels. Remember they would do the crawl. It's like Hot Wheels and Barbie. And
yeah, I do.
Depending on your gender, it's like, well, you get the Hot Wheels and you get the Barbie, and it's like, all right,
when we were kids, they just asked which one you wanted. They didn't say, do you got a boy or a girl? They said, which toy do you want? Do you want the boy toy or the girl toy? And I would say, oh, of course, I want the boy toy. But still, it didn't come off like
I don't know why that was. It made me think of Shawn Michaels for some reason. I don't know why.
The sexy boy, a boy toy. That's
yeah.
I guess so. But I just don't see anything wrong with it. But now they feel like that they can't ask anything. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's a different time. That's basically what it boils down to.
Well, it's the parents that go to McDonald's and take their kids there are getting offended. oh my son wants the girl. How dare you not? Or like, lady, can I just give you the Happy Meal? I'll give you whatever damn toy you want.
Yeah,
that's true.
Can we get whatever it takes to keep the line moving? But anyway, I feel like this Noel, MB, whatever the hell her name is. I don't know because I don't care enough.
All right. Well, we'll see all the rest of anything else for when that show comes out. The next time you're going to hear us talk about this cartoon is when it comes out November 16th. So whatever the hell day that is, I'm not sure, but I'm sure then on that weekend is when we'll discuss it.
Well, I think that stuff usually comes out on Fridays.
I actually have
it's on a Friday.
It's on Friday? Okay, so then they'll give me a couple days or to watch however many episodes it is. And then, yeah, I'll be all set for that Sunday.
I'm going to say this just as someone that's, as you guys were saying, I'm not super, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm not as invested in it as you guys have been over the years to where it's like, it becomes a topic of conversation that it's something that you guys have to address. Anyway, I'm saying this solely as almost the neutral party here. I hope that it's good, because if it is good, everybody benefits from it. The creators do, because they're like, yeah, we pulled it off, whatever. You guys benefit from it because here's the property kind of moving forward, maybe in not the way that some people wanted, but I hope that it works out. And if it crashes and burns, then
anything's possible. You're right. I mean, if it's successful, you never know. Maybe it could lead to a new cartoon with a different style of She-Ra.
Yeah, but you guys have to remember, it could be successful for all the wrong reasons, much like how Michael Bay's Transformers was successful, but for all the wrong reasons. That's why I'm like, I'm not so anxious for this show to be a success, because if it's successful for being, everything what we don't want in a She-Ra show, but it's successful because it's an 80s retro show. This is cool. I can go to Hot Topic and buy shirts for it and all that nonsense,
Well, we'll see.
That's
yeah. I think, like I said, we'll reserve judgment. We're gonna wait. So that was that discussion right there.
All right, I can leave now.
Oh yeah, right? leave. Remember, you're
get
not
the hell out of here.
Yeah. No, thanks.
We're
Nathan,
done with you now.
No, thank you.
You're like neutral gender approach, and your My Little Ponies and watching Jim and all that stuff. And again, this is a man's podcast.
I didn't mean to insult you earlier. That wasn't an insult. You know it wasn't, Nathan. I was just showing up. He was like, that's it. He's like, I'm done with Joe.
Yep.
He mutes me and gets rid of my image right here. And
I don't even think I have the capabilities, really, of like muting either of you guys. I don't think that's how that works on this end of things.
There you go. But thanks for
I can't be ignored.
So, thanks again, Nathan, for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of the show, chat. Thanks for being so cool, because most of those guys were like, I've watched Jim. They're like, the music's good and the stories were great too. So
isn't that funny though that we all like kind of said, I watched Jim. I only watched it because it was on, but I had no problem with it though.
I mean,
I thought the girls were hot.
If you go and watch it, I've watched, went back and watched again, like the first probably 8 to 10 episodes. It's like really just crazy. It's like, we don't like Jim and them. Let's put a bomb in their building. Let's hide it under the couch.
You know what's cool, though? They looked. It's what I was saying earlier. They look like real people, but in cartoon form. They had that proportionate thing I was telling you about. They looked like people.
But that's sexist, Joe. You can't have women look like actual women.
No, I didn't mean just that. I meant they look like people, and that's what I appreciate. If those would have probably been a bunch of hyper gigantic eyes, weird mouth looking little kids, I probably wouldn't have flipped. And it's the same thing if it was for boys. But there's some, like I said, cartoons that I did. I mean, I like Voltron. I like some things growing up, but I just meant certain cartoons, certain things. There's ways I like certain cartoons being, because you can have a different type of category that you like, from comedy to kids to more adult to adventurous, and keeping them separated is kind of good instead of just globbing them all together into one happy, fun cartoon comedy. As we're not going to do a Thundercats Roar. Believe me, we're not doing that rant, because that thing has been destroyed. So again,
all right,
Nathan,
we'll leave it at that. Even though Febmon's like, you need to stick around, we need your voice, and Zen Brown was asking me to stick around, but no, I'm gonna leave it to these guys, because they're gonna start talking about Battle Bones, and I got nothing on that. So
Skeletor's dragon. So all right, man. All right,
thanks, guys. Have a good rest of the show.
God bless you. Is he finally gone? Thank God. I didn't think we'd ever.
Thank God, man.
Jesus
Christ.
I'm still listening. I'm still listening. I'm still kind of here.
I mean, thank God he's back. We lost viewers and everything the minute you left there, bud. We
All right.
need that neutrality on the podcast here. I mean, it's we need another Penny Dreadful on the show here to bring a female approach on the show here.
Well, how about now we talk about, before we talk about the story, because it's a sad story with Skeletor's dragon. When people really think about it, I don't know how many people read it, but it's a great looking, and it's a great story, but it's a sad one. But it's called Skeletor's dragon, but it's more about Battle Bones. Now, here's a funny thing about Battle Bones. Well, obviously, how it was advertised, you could see that you can have the evil warriors in it or the good guys. It's the only thing I have two of from my childhood. It's one of the most, I guess, useless, meaning no mechanics, nothing to do with it. You just move around, open the mouth, put the tools in. But you know what? It's one of the coolest. I love my damn it, right here. It's like, I love this damn Battle Bones. It's cooler than hell. Oh, he's getting his too. Yeah, it's just, who the hell does not like Battle Bones? And as much flack as things like, Dragon Walker got, some people said, oh, so slow and boring, even though that was fun. And yes, the concept of it in a cartoon or in motion might be silly, but it's like, it's so simple, but so cool. And also within that, I got this, which is Mini Battle Bones, which is a stamp holder. I was like, oh my God, when I first seen this, I lost my mind. I was like, there's a miniature version. And they've been turned one of these into something called Goopasaurus, to where you can put these little containers of crap on the sides, and it was slightly modified. I forgot what the hell company made it, but I mean, I love Battle Bones. I don't know about you, but go ahead, Tyler. But some people usually don't talk about much is Battle Bones.
No, and it's we were trying to come up with stuff to talk about, and I just kind of thought I instantly thought of this mini comic that we're going to talk about later on. Then I thought about Battle Bones itself. Like, you know what? That's something that's not really. I think Battle Bones is looked at in a positive sense, but just kind of overlooked for the most part. And I wasn't aware of them until I was in high school, though, because I never had seen or had no idea that it even existed. I think until I started looking at price guides in the '90s and the Adam Tyner website. And I ended up getting one mint in box from Final Frontier Toys, I think when I was in 11th grade for like $12 or $15. Like I ordered it over the phone.
Oh, you still got that box for it too? Because beautiful art. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's back here on my bottom shelf. It has like a price written in black marker on it. But it was dirt cheap, and this is before I ever had internet. So this is, like 1998 or 99, maybe 2000, somewhere in there. And it's in great shape. The box was in great shape. I guess they were just trying to move through a lot of their stuff. I ended up ordering a lot of Men on Card He-Man stuff from them, getting it dirt cheap back then. But I thought it was great. The box art was is probably one of the more prominent things about Battle Bones because of how beautiful it looks. But I thought it was an interesting carrying case, and I think this mini comic, really gives a lot of life to the character. Because the commercial itself for Battle Bones is fun too, because it's depicted as something that could be used for both the heroic warriors and the evil warriors, and that kind of carries through with the mini comic, even though it's more of a finite ending as to what Battle Bones should be, but it still works. That from a playability aspect with kids, that it serves a purpose in the stories that as a kid you would use to play with, but also as a collector case. But I kind of wondered though if they had already been releasing a lot of those carrying cases, the ones with the cardboard, the plastic, and you snap it together. Yeah. If those have been out, I guess this was like they had an idea for something, and let's kind of make it a little bit more gimmicky and not just something like a dinosaur bones. Let's make it a carrying case. We'll make two things in one, I guess, or something.
And I like it because you think if it would have, because the thing is, as we just said, there's no action features to this. It's only the mouth opening and shutting. So it's like they probably figured, hey, let's release a cool looking skeleton dragon, but what the hell are people going to do with it? But then you figured, all right, if we have it to where you can like doom, 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 march them into battle, which
Yeah.
I did, I'm sure you did, and I used to have both sets of warriors, then they would get out and then engage in battle.
I just told you I didn't have one till I was in high school, and you're gonna. I guess somehow I managed to do it when I was a kid. Well, you not listening to me at all.
I don't. Yeah, you know me, God. I'd forget what I'd say 5 minutes ago. It's a horrible memory. I have like this weird selective memory. I hear some shit and then zoom, it's gone. But yes, well for me, I did. I'd engage them into battle like that, and like so, there's just nothing to it, but it worked, and it just made for great display. Oh, by the way, somebody did want to see a side, I think, comparison of the two. This is the difference with Battle Bones and then the stamp case battles or the stamp battle bones, which
that's one hell of a tie-in they did with those stamps, is to throw in a Battle Bones collector case with the stampers. God, that's really, really cool. They did that.
It is. I mean, I love it. It's absolutely genius. It's like that's a cool holder, and the thing that sucks is I found this on eBay and then found out that this wasn't from the USA, this case. This is an international thing. Of course, the stamps, yes, the ones that are in here, these were released in the United States along with some others. But then there was plenty of stamps that were released in Italy and other countries that we never got. But this, I believe, was an international item. If I'm not mistaken, somebody can correct me. I still have the box for this in the closet and I can check. But yeah, I do like that little feature, but no, Battle Bones. He seems so plain. Doesn't seem like anybody could do much with him. I think it was Zentron or Zen Brown. I'm trying to see who said it's one of them used it as an item to beat things around the house and use it as a weapon. So go figure with that. But then we transitioned Battle Bones into Skeletor's dragon, and you figured that, and he is prominent. Don't get me wrong. And this is for like Dragon Blaster Skeletor, in case people are wondering what we talking about Skeletor's dragon. He has a prominent role as well. And I like to see him that he's like a feisty little son of a gun, that's real inquisitive, wants to get into action, see what's going on. Like when they're looking for Battle Bones, as Skeletor is searching for it, and you see the dragon, as he keeps calling it, just runs and he starts like digging into the pile. And Skeletor's like, no, it'd take you too long, and uses magic to blast away the stuff. And then there lays Battle Bones. And then you see the little dragon go over there. He starts like gnawing on the bone and he like zaps him away. I found a little cute, cuteness into that. But then he brings it to life. And he's going to use this now to, I'll pass to you in a second. But you'll see heroic warriors. You're going to see that the things that are on the side that carry into battle were more almost like to grab the warriors. After Skeletor used, that's the other thing you find out. Skeletor's chains that he has around him for Dragon Blaster Skeletor. The one cool thing I remember, I always thought as a kid that I lost a key, because if you notice closely, there's a key that's also on the outfit in the comic, but the actual figure does not have a key. And I used to, as a kid, thought I lost my key, and it took years until I realized he never came with a key. But these chains, it's weird. It's weird how you get an impression. But those chains are used that he can wrap them around his enemies, and it drains their power. And the dragon will spray that puts them kind of like into a hypnotic state. So you find out a lot more about that character as well. The dragon, and also with even his chains. But I'll pass to you.
Doesn't the dragon kind of look like one of those little reptiles in the moat inside Snake Mountain?
Hey, I agree with you. I never thought of it until you just said it, but he does. He does look like that. Yeah.
But I thought it was just fun to give, because this is the only time Dragon Blaster Skeletor appears in all the mini comics. Like, this is it. This is the only time it shows up, the only time we see the variation. And it's a shame that it's pretty much this mini comic was just kind of get this figure over in Battle Bones, and that's really about it. And you never see either one of them ever again. And it's unfortunate that it's such a great. I mean, the way Skeletor. I mean, all to the artist who did this, which there's three names on here, and it's hard to say which one did what. But the artwork is quite good in here. I love the way Skeletor is drawn in it, and I was curious because I went back and revisited it, and I had never really paid attention to it. Well, I had, but it made me think otherwise. That Battle Bones in his original form kind of reminded me of your Zuba Rex.
Zuba Rex, huh? Yeah, a little bit. I guess a little bit. Hey, maybe Zuba Rex was inspired from his depiction in this comic, because it is different seeing him with skin and everything. But then that's what you also find out is, within this story, which we won't go through the whole thing because we want people to read if they never have. You have to read Skeletor's Dragon. This is a great one. It is a sad story because Battle Bones is given a voice by the sorceress towards the end to then talk, and then Battle Bones tells his story of how it was back in his time when he was still existing with all the other dinosaurs or creatures like his kind, and they all started dying away. And his mate, he specifically says, he sees his mate that has died, and you see like the flesh ripped off her bone, and you see her bones underneath. Just the use of the word dying and seeing his dead
and
mate.
Died is like written in bold lettering, like it's emphasizing to kids that my mate died. I think that's important.
It is, and when you're as a kid reading it, it does give you kind of a chill and like oh my god, am I hearing this? And you're seeing it's like you're seeing this dead, his dead mate, this creature, living being, is now gone and decaying, and then you see about how he decayed. He eventually roamed around. He was then the last of his kind, and he just laid down for basically his death nap and just went away until Skeletor brought him back. However thousands of years later you might want to think, I don't know, but it was a quite sad story. Hearing that, I was like, damn, I really felt for poor Battle Bones.
I did too. It has kind of a land before time feel to it, because it's clearly dinosaurs. I mean, that's clearly what we're looking at here. You don't know exactly because the dinosaurs from the Powers of Grayskull line came later on in the line. This was just kind of its own story, but it's kind of fun to think that did this group of dinosaurs exist before those, after those, at the same time, because there's no mechanical parts, but who's to say that all the dinosaurs all had mechanical parts, and it's just fun to see that there were these dinosaurs roaming around, and obviously his mate looks like was attacked by another large beast, which is horrific in its own, or maybe even killed by marauders, snake men, horsemen. We have no idea what could have killed his mate. Point is that she had her ribs torn into, and to find your beloved killed alive like that, and then wandering around aimlessly through eternity until you die. That's some pretty dark stuff. I mean, and the illustrations of him coming up on his mate, and then you see a shot of him wandering around
it's sad.
Desert.
It really
it's and then to see him die, and then it pans to the panel of him all in bones being covered up, and then more by like the snow and the elements of the seasons and stuff, and then to see that there the bones are talking to He-Man and gives him new life and meaning. And it's still sad that this creature is now being brought back to life, and he has new memories to make and new friends to make, but it feels like he's being reminded now, I'm living in a different time. What I knew has been gone for thousands and thousands of years. There's no other creature like mine, like my kind, for me to relate to or talk to or fall in love with. And God, man, I'm really digging deep into this story.
No, it is. No, but the thing is, you're right. Every point you're bringing up, because you don't see really a lot of backstories for even some of the human people in these comics or in the cartoons. And to give it to this, what you would think is, here's just your little skeleton thing that goes around with your warriors. And you read that, it's like, wow. It's like you felt compassion, you felt empathy, and you just felt sadness for this creature now. Because again, we never knew anything about Battle Bones beyond that, and it happens, and it's sad. And the thing about the within time, like you said, as he's laying there and everything's starting to come over him with the snow and the ground, that's what makes you think. I would think that maybe he was after the other Preternia dinosaurs by chance, because you think that sometimes dinosaurs, other beings, like to chew on bones. As you've seen, look what the dragon did at the beginning. His first instinct was to go over there and start gnawing on Battle Bones. So you would assume that if he died before here came Preternia dinosaurs, you figured they would have came over and started gnawing on his bones. So you'd like to think, okay, he just within time, 1,000 years, got covered up. Here came the new beings over the land, and Skeletor found out. Oh, and somebody did have a question. I think it was it Zen Brown or Zentron? Let me see. Oh, it was Delvis. Delvis said he thought that Battle Bones was a heroic warrior's vehicle thingy. Well, no, it's actually something you use for both. But as you find out in this story, when Skeletor brought him to life, he put him under the spell to service under him. And then, of course, it was at the end when the sorceress used her magic to then break that spell and give Battlebones the ability to tell his story. Because within this story, you're seeing like kind of some games where it's like, Tila won an archery contest, and then Fisto, banged down after Man at Arms to see who could, basically, hit the thing, go up and ring the bell, and they're waiting for He-Man, who then comes, shows up, hits it, and knocks it into outer space. They're doing the tug of war, and then that's eventually when Battlebones comes and snaps.
I love that. I always
Yeah.
loved that when I was younger and saw it. It's like Jaws coming. Like you see him come closer, and then just snaps it in half. It was a great depiction of this oncoming onslaught, that they're so wrapped up in this tug of war beating He-Man, unaware of this, Jurassic, enemy coming towards their way. It was a great depiction of the character.
Yeah, and even Dragon within that, Skeletor's Dragon, he took care of business. He was knocking out plenty of the heroic warriors and putting them in that hypnotic state. It didn't work on He-Man because he used his shield to like go back and it hit back toward that way. And the thing that I like is when the dragon jumped and like put its jaws into He-Man's shield, and He-Man threw the shield along with the dragon, like zoom, just you're gone. He shows up again later to get out with Skeletor in a portal, but I like how he used the shield as a frisbee, like there you go. But that dragon was taking care of business. He really was with this spray.
Yeah, everybody. This was, a book that, pretty much, it showcases quite a few of the heroic warriors. Skeletor is the only villain in this, but it gives a lot of panel time to a lot of prominent characters, and He-Man is the star of it, so he's going to come in and clean house when Skeletor does show up. But for a mini comic that's advertising the current roster of characters you could buy in the toy store, Battlebones and Skeletor's new variant, I think, are given a whole hell of a lot of time devoted to them, just to help sell. If you don't have Battlebones, this makes you want to go out and get Battlebones. If you don't have Dragon Blaster Skeletor, this will make you want to go out and get Dragon Blaster Skeletor. I think it's just another. I mean, it seems to be kind of like a common thread we talk about on this podcast. There's a lot of stuff that He-Man fans, they all kind of mention, but there's a bunch they don't mention. And I think this is another one of those situations where this mini comic and Battlebones himself, are two characters that just don't get acknowledged as much. And not that we're saying that everything has to be acknowledged, but there's some stuff that's genuinely good that
and
just
so overlooked. I don't hear people ever talk about Skeletor's Dragon mini comic. It's almost never brought up ever in a conversation.
And that is what we do here, people. We want to remind everybody it's not just about the toys. It's not just about a cartoon or when's the new movie coming out. Because then Joe posted another picture of Batman slapping Robin.
Yeah,
that there's so much more to He-Man. There's so many great stories to be, to revisit or discover for the first time, or just keep reminding yourself that, what? There may be nothing great on the horizon when it comes to He-Man and the media, but go back and revisit some of these great stories and treat yourself and remind yourself that we keep him alive for a reason, because he's been given so many great stories. We get greedy for wanting new media, but you know what? Not every toy line of the 80s or even current toy lines or toys of the 90s had as much of a library of media to choose from. I mean, look at all what we got with He-Man. So I know we gripe about this, we gripe about that, or I do for the most part. Joe's pretty positive about everything. I'm the prick on the show, but we have a lot of great stories to choose from, but it's a shame though that we don't look at these stories as just mindless entertainment for 5-year-old boys. We're talking about this because it's genuinely a good story. It's not
a good story. Could you imagine a Filmation episode of this story? That would have been one hell of a thing to see.
Dude, if they'd got Larry DiTillio or Robbie London or Paul Dini to tell this story of Battlebones, given like the kind of emotional content those guys could throw into an episode, Jesus Christ, man! Watch Skytree, talk to He-Man and Tila and say that I will willingly let you kill me to save your father, and you can cut me down, and I'll spend the rest of my place on this planet burning in Granimir's fire pit to save your father. And he was like, can't do this. Like, that's some emotional stuff. Larry Taylor would have a field day with this episode, like telling the time of Battle of Bones and how his mate was killed.
That
He
would have
lives
got
on
me,
by
boy.
himself.
That would have probably really got me back then. It probably still would now.
Man.
Yeah. And I don't know how many people in the chat room, if you haven't read it, but definitely read Skeletor's Dragon. I mean, it's you have the big book in front of you, don't you, Tyler? The mini comic book.
Yes. Here's another product placement here for the Dark Horse collection of the He-Man and the Master Universe mini comics, featuring all the original 80s mini comics, the She-Ra mini comics, the New Adventures of He-Man mini comics, and some of the classics.
Could you get to the page where it's the first page showing Skeletor's Dragon, not the cover, but the page? Because I remember as a kid,
I know the splash page.
It's
a beautiful page.
Yeah, and you have to speak to show it.
Yeah, this one here. I mean, this is what kicks off the mini comic. This is the first page you come to. This beautiful splash page depicting Dragon Blaster Skeletor in all his glory. I mean, that would make you want to buy the toys. I don't know what would.
You know how much I love that? It's something I've never brought up. I have 2 copies of that. There's a lot of the comics I had from my childhood that I have a couple of. I loved that picture so much that I ripped the cover off, because on the cover is the one thing, and on the other side is that, because it looks like a poster. I always thought it looked like a mini poster. I loved it that much, and I used to just stare at it, and then I would tape it on my wall, then I would take it down and tape it on my wall, and I still have that ripped cover in my collection. So that's how much I love that damn piece, because it's the only one that reminded me of like it was a poster.
Is Kevin in the chat room still?
He hasn't popped up in a bit, but if he heard you, I'm sure he'll be popping up here in a second.
And I was like, you know what? We ought to have Kevin do a pin-up of Dragon Blaster Skeletor in this exact same pose with Kevin's style of artwork. Man, my God, Kevin, if you did that, we'll promote the hell of it, and we can probably get that sold in no time. Man.
Oh, there's no doubt. Oh, and FedMom even in the chat room said, and you're right, FedMom. FedMom said that'd make a great T-shirt. Oh, hell yeah, that'd make a great T-shirt. I'd love to see that.
Yes, it would. Just the image itself, there's a lot of great solo images just in the mini comics. I would love to put on a tank top or a T-shirt or something like that, and don't put any kind of silly slogan on there. Just
the art.
This strong image of Skeletor with his dragon pointing his power sword. That's it, man. It's just, to quote James E. Talk, pure fried gold, man.
Is that what he says? Pure fried gold? I never heard
I know. Like when he says he likes something, I know he always says pure fried gold sometimes. So I'm sure Grandma knows what I'm talking about.
There is one saying. What does he? Oh, damn it! There is a saying that James E. Talk does where, damn. Oh, I hate when I go blank. I know there's something he likes to. Oh shit! Never mind. I'm not going to harp on it because I'm not going to remember it. But there is a phrase he likes using when he's describing something, and damn, Joe just went blank.
Wax lyrically.
That's it. Wax lyrically. He's like, let me sit back while I wax lyrically. Thank you, Tyler. God, you even remember his quote. So, all right. Well, I was going to say before we wrap it up again, if you guys had any questions in the chat room, that's when we'll answer it right now. So shoot anything that you want, whether it's from the comics, the toys, cartoon, anything about future movie stuff, whatever you want to say. Shoot us some questions, and we'll do that. I'm sitting there reading in the chat room. I'm reading words. That's why images came into my mind. And Grimbot says, I actually hadn't noticed him saying that, and he's doing a sarcastic smile. I don't know. That must mean he notices him saying it a lot then. But yes, again, any questions you have, shoot it to us now, but I'm going to pass it to you, Tyler, if there's anything you wanted to say or promote or anything that you got going on.
Did get around to it this week, but hopefully we'll start the giveaways next week. I got more of the Leech comics back in from Karsten, and hopefully starting next week we'll start doing giveaways. We'll do it on the podcast for people who are in the chat room. Since we got Joe back, we're getting back into the swing of things. Having Joe back, we'll save the giveaway for next week. And just I apologize if you showed up purposely to be in the chat room for the giveaway or something like that. But we'll start the giveaways next week. And if you're in the chat room, we'll just take a note of everybody that's in there and just kind of do a random drawing. That if you don't own a Leech mini comic, we'll put you in the drawing and just do giveaways until all the books are gone. And we'll just kind of come up with a variety of different ways of doing random drawings or giveaways for the remainder of the Leech mini comics that come with a little Leech card as well.
We'll have to think of something really good for episode 156, now that I think about it, because that will be our 3-year anniversary, and that's going to be in 8 more episodes. So that's 3-year anniversary, 1 week straight. That's crazy, man. That's awesome.
Wait, how many more episodes we got left?
We got 8 more.
Reach the... 8 more.
Yep, it'll be episode 156. That'll be our 3-year anniversary for Fans of Power.
Wow.
It's great. It seems, we have so much fun doing this damn show, and everybody joining us all the time, and of course anybody listens on Podbean and everything iTunes. But it seems like it just flies by. It's like, damn, has it been 3 years? It seems like it's just fresh and new every time we do this. It's bizarre to me.
Man, I mean, I remember the first time we started doing YouTube, and just like just the transitions we made, and how the numbers have flip-flopped the years. People have come and gone, and when we just strictly did audio, I think the numbers were pretty high. Of course, we were still getting regular He-Man figures in the mail at that time also. But it's been a wild ride. We've had lots of guests on the show, some reoccurring, some have graced us once. I'm hoping that our 3rd year will just continue to grow. I'd like to think we'd have something special planned for the 3rd year or 3-year anniversary.
Yeah, we're gonna do something good. We'll see what we can do. But okay, well, we do have a couple questions here in the chat room, and Kyle Kendall says, "Sorry, I'm late." Well, hey, you know what? It's better late than never. Thank you for joining us. And if you want, you can ask us any question here in the chat room as well, while we're covering some of these other ones. So first from Adam Gabbard. Adam says, "Thanks for sharing Trevor on the podcast," and no problem. And he said his question is from you, Tyler. Why was Grizzlor and Mantenna fighting while the troopers were standing in the She-Ra series? I'm going to be honest, I don't know what part he's talking about. Do you know what he's saying? I'm
not. He did to be more specific. I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay, well, if you can, Adam, follow back up in the chat room in a little bit here, because I actually just went blank. But Delvis78 said, "Joe, did you not care for the Samurai Jack show because of the animation, even with the more serious undertone of the show?" Delvis, this is going to sound nuts. I've never watched Samurai Jack, so I don't know.
It's a shocker.
Isn't that a damn shocker? So there's another one you could chalk up to Joe not seeing. Haven't watched South Park. Haven't watched Beavis and Butthead. Haven't watched Samurai Jack. Damn, I'm surprised I even watched He-Man. So sorry about that, Delvis. Zen Brown said, "Tyler, have you considered making a mini comic showing He-Man acquiring the battle armor?"
No.
Why do I feel like?
No, I haven't.
Have we seen something in one of the stories of battle armor?
Nope. I mean, no. And hell, I would. I like that idea.
Oh, I do too. I love it. A lot. I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah, because, well, that's something I would love to try to come up with an idea that would make sense, and not
because we've seen Thunder Punch. Yeah, because we've seen Thunder Punch and Flying Fist, how they got those armors, but I
would be because with the story, it would feature both Battle Armor Skeletor and Battle Armor He-Man, because they're not using the mini comics at all. Neither one of them are. So yeah, to give both of them, God, that's a wonderful idea.
Right, well, there,
I'm sure Carson will listen to this. I'm sure Carson will listen to this at some point too. And every time he listens to it and he hears another idea, we should do that too. So it's like we never run out of ideas. It's just getting around and doing them. And we got one guy drawing and illustrating and printing, and one guy writing. So it's, God, I love to tackle that idea. Absolutely, right. Great idea.
Okay, all right. Thanks for that, Zen Brown. Zentron, your movie quote, I know I'm not going to get, and I pray it's not a Friday the 13th thing, but it's, "Give it to me, punk." I don't know. I feel like sometimes I've heard so many punk things in a movie. I don't know how specific, but
yeah.
Anything for you, Tyler? Do you know Tyler or no? Because he'll give us the answer in a bit, but I don't know.
It's kind of vague. It doesn't sound very specific.
Give it to me. Can't get it. Yep, I don't know.
I don't know.
All right. Well, You're gonna have to give us the answer. Fedmon said, oh yeah, Fedmon said, what did you think of that song from the Kid Stuff record that was titled Masters of the Universe that was on that first record that was made for He-Man? I remember that catchy little tune because that's the story we were just talking about, when Danielle joined us. The one where you found out about, like Zoar having the wingspan of 20 feet and the really big description. That's the one where He-Man said, by the power of Grayskull, I'm sorry, by the power of Castle Grayskull, I have the power of Castle Grayskull. But I liked it.
Oh yeah.
Tune. It was fun. I don't know what you thought about it, Tyler, but I got a kick out of it at the
I
beginning.
don't think I've ever heard it. That
I'll
song.
link you on from YouTube later, but it lasted a good amount of time. I thought it was right towards the beginning, almost like 2-3 minutes. So
the only book on tape that I owned was the Revenge of Skeletor. That's the only one of all the books. Like I'd never heard any of the audio from any of the other like record books, cassette books, or anything like that.
All right. Okay. Well, but thank you for that one, bud. All right. Delvis78. Boy, he wants a big one here. He said, Tyler, how about a mini comic of Grizzlor capturing all the heroic and evil warriors to put him in the slime pit? Well, Jesus, that's going to show Grizzlor is one bad sucker, then, huh?
I would, of course, I like the Grizzlor mini comic, but it's strictly on an idea of making Grizzlor like building up the evil horde faction. Yeah, I would do that. I would have concoct a way of because I try to pay homage to the idea that the Fright Zone we see in the mini comics is on Etheria, which it is depicted as an Etheria. But I almost like to think that if we were to kind of come up with a brand new canon, but incorporate all the elements of what we love from He-Man and She-Ra, I would put the Fright Zone playset that we got in the toy line as their base of operations on Eternia, and have the She-Ra cartoon is their base on Etheria. So that way, it would be easier to write like they've established their base of operations on Eternia. Grizzlor's instructed to go out, give me 3 of Skeletor's top warriors, go get me 3 of the heroic warriors, bring them back here. We're going to turn them into mindless slaves in the slime pit. I would do that because I'd like to think I want to at least play up the importance that it's not so easy to go from Etheria to Eternia just like that.
Sure.
That in the so that, but yeah, I would do that. I'd have Grizzlor go and capture, Clawful, Jitsu, and Webstore, and go and capture Cyclone, Fisto, and Mossman. And then He-Man has to come in.
Mossman. Oh, what a mess that'd be for poor Mossman. Just like the vintage choice, like you don't want Mossman caught in that slime pit. That would be a pretty big.
No.
So, all right. Well, thanks for that, man. Appreciate that one.
I like that.
Yeah. Zentron says, "Oh man, this is hard to choose." He said, "Favorite Filmation Masters of the Universe soundtrack tune." Well, I don't own the tracks for
He-Man to the rescue.
Oh, you actually know specifically. See, that's the thing. I know none of the specific names. I don't own the soundtrack. I don't know any. There's like that. How's that go when the dun 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 dun? There's certain things that always.
I think you're trying to sing He-Man to the rescue.
Oh, is that what that is? Well, shit. Then there you go. Isn't that bizarre? All right. Well, I guess we both had the same one. So Zentron, thanks for that. Kyle Kendall, I'm glad you just said what you said because I was going to bring this up at the beginning, but we had a good, crazy, different little other thing we were doing at the beginning. Kyle Kendall says, how about covering his question? Because he had a question in Motu Nation. It's a group on Facebook. Great Facebook group. It's Motu Nation. But his question was, instead of like a movie for Masters of the Universe, what would you think of a series of live action people, almost like how they have the Flash every week on CW, which by the way, I love the Flash. Is like, what would you think of something like a TV series? Would you rather have that, or would you rather have the movie? Because that's the tricky thing. A movie, sure, it could be a gigantic success and then it could spawn some sequels, but also if the movie flopped, no more interest. But with a TV series, and if it was live action and they had some pretty good actors, effects to do the show, that'd be kind of cool to tune in each week to a different new episode, almost like when you'd watch the cartoon back then. But I wouldn't be against something like that. If it could be done properly and it gave really good, effects and they put some good budget and effort into it, will it ever happen? Probably not. But if it could be done with some good respect and almost like how they do with the Flash, I'd like that, Kyle. I mean, I like that. But what about you, Tyler?
I still think a movie could be done well as long as the focus is on He-Man and Skeletor and building up their inevitable fight, because that's what
Which would be good.
Yeah, and that's what it needs to be. It doesn't need to be about B story, C story, D story, and then throw in an E and F story for good measure. But a Netflix or a YouTube Red show of He-Man, I mean, that gives time to really flesh out, Clamp Champ, Fisto, Man at Arms, Tila, the relationship between Adam and Randor, and Adam and Marlena, and then the all the evil warriors, their connections to Skeletor, his motivations. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it gives you a lot of time to expand and give a lot of extra character development and kind of build up how everyone thinks and why they do what they do. That works, but I feel like a movie can still work as long as you're not trying to get nuts with it. It's like, dude, He-Man is not complicated. It's like with Star Wars. Like when Star Wars comes out, you're not given an explanation as to why Darth Vader does what he does, or why he is what he is, or why is Princess Leia a princess? What is she a princess of? How do you make a lightsaber? Or why is everyone in Mos Eisley Spaceport? Why is it the most wretched hive of scum? We just accept this stuff. It's not explained. He-Man is no different. We don't need explanations as to why Skeletor does what he does. He's just an evil prick, and that's the way he needs to be. He-Man is the quintessential hero of the show or the movie, and that's the way it should be, or Adam becoming the hero. It's not rocket science. It's not brain surgery, or it's not, rocket surgery or brain science.
And
However you want to look at it.
No, you're right. Skeletor coming from Infinita, that's the thing that I've always preferred, of just this mysterious evil sumbitch that came from another dimension.
Yeah,
He's conquered other worlds.
Too.
Yeah, he's conquered other worlds, universes, and now he's coming to do Eternia. That's it. No backstory, no Uncle Keldor, none of that crap. Just bam, he's evil.
Keep it simple like that. You could even use the fact that if he comes from Infinita and have conquered other worlds, he goes to those other worlds and brings in Trapjaw, brings in Evelyn, and picks up Jitsu and Clawful on Eternia. Or just, you feel if he's a conqueror of other worlds, he can go and grab other resources from other worlds too, and not get these crazy explanations as to why he's got what he's got and why he does what he does. You start overthinking it, you take away the mystery and the fun of what these characters have always been to us. They're not all explained. All of us as fans.
Some are. Like you said, some are and it works, but some aren't and it works that way too. Not everybody has to have it. But
to get a good He-Man movie off the ground, the focus has got to be on He-Man and Skeletor and building. It's like a great wrestling match. You want to build up to this big main event and build it up over months and months and months, waiting for Hogan Award to square off against or Hogan and Andre or Brett and Sean or The Rock and Austin. Whatever.
I can't tell you how many times I watched that damn Saturday night's main event. I remember when the Warrior and Hogan teamed up, and remember when Warrior clotheslined Hogan, and then he's looking and he's picking up, and then Hogan shoved the Warrior, and they were going at it. I still got that. I watch it over and over and over, and eventually it all leads up to their big match at WrestleMania. And, oh God, what a moment! Thanks for bringing that up, Tyler.
And that should be applied to with He-Man and Skeletor in the movie. That's the focal point. Is you're building up for these guys to finally clash swords in front of Castle Grayskull in the rain during a thunderstorm. They're separated from all the other warriors, and it just comes down to the fate of Grayskull is coming down to who wins this fight here. Yeah. And that's what we all want to see. Not some convoluted, overthought, overanalyzed mess.
It doesn't have to be that. But no, as Kyle, to get back to what you'd say, I mean, sure, I would love a series. I'd love an epic movie as well, but hell, I wouldn't be against if it was done properly and well and it was really executed good. Sure, I'd love a TV series. If it was done, sure, I'd love it. But, I mean, like I said, I guess we'll see what the future holds. We already know that movie Limbo, which we won't get into. But thank you for that, bud. And Zentron also said the quote was from Friday the 13th, Part 6. So, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is it when one of the cops was talking, come and get it, punk, or something.
I've only seen Part 6 once, so I have no idea.
Gosh, because I'll admit, I'm flawed when it comes to some of the cops' dialogue. I know the part when wherever the red light goes, bang. I remember things like that, but the punk part, I don't know if it was one of the cops, so Zentron might have to let me know. Let's see. Zentron also said in Adam Gabbert that maybe, I don't know if Zentron is also going along with what Adam said, a prison break scene. It's while the troopers were standing, not doing nothing while they're in a cage. I still don't know the damn scene. I'm fucking lost. I'm sorry, Adam. I
Yeah,
feel like a
I don't
moron.
know either.
But thank you for that. And Zen Brown also said that song that we're talking about, that Master of the Universe song, which you've never heard, Tyler, and some others haven't. Zen Brown said that song makes me cringe. Yeah, it's a doozy, but it's fun. So
I
Tyler,
don't need to listen to that.
nah, you got it. Well, the thing is, it's the song before the story. It's a great ass story, though. It wasn't one of the record books. It was just the LP record, but it is a very good story. So, well, thanks for that. Let's see. Fedbon said, "Oh, well, no, it wasn't that." Oh yeah, when Megan helps Tommy escape from his jail cell. Is that what Megan said that? Come and get it, punk. Oh yeah, she said that to Tommy, and then the whole damn thing with the drawing pad. Oh, son bitch. Okay, Zentron, you got me. I know the scene, what you just said, and I can see it playing back and forth, and he grabs her and kisses her, and then he gets the gun, and all right, thank you. See, I just rambled. All right, let me see. I just want to see if there's anybody else that anything else they said. That might be it. I'm scrolling down, so I apologize if I'm not saying nothing, but that might. Let me see. Yeah, that might be it. If I missed somebody's thing, I do apologize, but I think we got everybody. So, well, Jesus, guys, that was great. Tyler already gave his recommendations and things earlier, but I want to do what I say all the time. I want to thank every one of you guys for joining us in the chat room. It's always a blast. We have so much damn fun, and I hope you had as much fun. And I just want to remind everybody to like, subscribe, share, ring that bell. If you haven't ring that bell down there right now, ring it, because it's always going to notify you when we go live. So you can always stay up to date in case we have a different day where we go random, like it happens. Sometimes we went on Tuesday, and I think like Zentron and Zen Brown weren't here when we did the Tuesday. Like, what the hell? So that's why it's good to ring that bell, because then you can always be around. So I don't know if I missed anything. I rambled so much. Did I miss anything?
From our other two podcasts, Beyond Retro,
yeah.
Capes and Commentaries, we if you enjoy me and Joe and Nathan, we do Beyond Retro every Sunday at 2:00. We discuss, 80s and 90s movies, TV shows, video games, toys, and all. It's all encompassing, mainly movies. And if you like classic cartoons of the 80s and 90s, me and Nathan do commentary for all of them, called Capes and Commentaries. Just having fun, sitting around talking about G.I. Joe, Batman, Ninja Turtles, Dino Riders, you name it.
Yep. And I did. I remembered one more thing. First, Pradish just joined us in the chat room real late, but thank you for joining us, because we're just getting ready to get off here in a second. But I just remembered I wanted to give a big happy birthday to Philip Rice, Dan Rice's son, the one that's a big super fan of Stratos. And you know how Tyler was like, you and him, like, #1 fan or something, because you like Stratos too. So, Philip, it's your birthday. Yep. Happy birthday, bud.
Happy birthday, bud.
There you go. So, all right. Well, that was great. So, I just want to say until next time, have a powerful day.
To what? What was that word? Did you say Utes?
Ah, yes, My Cousin Vinny. Love that damn movie. If you guys haven't seen My Cousin Vinny, I don't know where you've been, but you got to see a damn movie. I encountered somebody, it was probably about 8 months ago, as bizarre as it sounds, that somehow came up and they said, I've never seen it. I was like, you've never seen it? And it's somebody in our
America.
age. And I was like, God, everybody's has to see My Cousin Vinny. But, all right, it's been great, guys. See you next time.
Later.